I'm back. Literally. It has been a long time. Like the last video that I filmed, my hair was this short, and now look at it. I think my last video was a year and a half ago. If you stuck with me for all that time, thank you, you're a real hero. I really appreciate your patience. So a lot has changed. A lot has changed since that. The biggest thing that changed. Yeah, so this is Pua, but the video is not about him though. Eventually there's gonna be a video about him. This is just not that video. And he was absolutely quiet right until I hit record. So this video is gonna be about how 2020 has affected me and how 2020 has changed my life forever. I tried to start this video with, you know, a uplift mood, but it was a shit show. With all reality, it was horrible. So here's a disclaimer. I was so blessed and so lucky for not getting sick with the virus, and no close friends or family got the virus, and we are all fine in that sense. And I know that some people lost everything, all their family members, and it was a tragic year for everyone. And I'm not gonna come here and say like, oh, my year was horrible, when I didn't even lose, like I didn't lost any people around me. So I just want to say that I know how blessed I am for just having all my loved ones close to me, and not just by being physically healthy. With that being said, I'm also not gonna say that it was an okay year. It was a year that I lost a lot and I learned a lot. So yeah, let's get started. For those of you who don't know, I was an international student in a college in California. And that, I think that is the catch of how shitty my year was. I started the year as an RA, as an international college student in California, in San Francisco. I was an illustration major. I was living on my own apartment. I already had Pua with me, my baby boy. I was living my best life. I was working 2 jobs. I was an RA and I was also working for the school in another department. Just getting paid, just doing my thing. And then COVID hit. Yeah, so I had plans. I had an internship in June and July for a company that I really wanted to work in. So COVID hit. I was in the dorms as an RA. First, and mind you, that happened in like a week. The week, May 18, May something. Oh, I'm sorry, March 18. Yeah, that was a lot earlier than that. March 18. I remember one day I was, you know, I got back from somewhere, maybe school, I don't know. I met a friend in the housing lobby. She looked at me and said, "Did you hear? San Francisco is going on a lockdown in 12 hours. Go get your ass to the supermarket." And I ran, and the supermarket was absolutely full. And yes, there wasn't any need for panic, but we didn't know that at that point. We just knew that we were not gonna be allowed to go out anymore. So the lockdown started, and it was crazy. And people were very scared, and a lot of students left that day. All the students who lived close by or in the suburbs or in small towns close to San Francisco, all of them left in like 3 hours. The college said that whoever was leaving on that day could not return without authorization. So, and that was just after spring break. So what they said is, if you left for spring break, you're not allowed to come back unless you made special arrangements with the school to come back, just pick some stuff up and leave again. You're not allowed to come back to live in the dorms. They wanted the dorms as empty as possible at that point, but they didn't send us home yet. So right after that, me and my friends, my RA friends, we were a little panicky, but not a lot. We thought it was just gonna be something like a week or two. We had experienced school closing because of the fires before, so it felt like that a little bit. 5 days later, 3 days later, they asked every single student to leave. So in like a week, we went from having normal classes to you need to go home if you can. Of course, they didn't kick people out because there were a lot of students in our college that just didn't have a place to go. But they expressly said, if you don't have a place to go, you have to come to us and talk to us specifically. If you do have a place to go, if you do have family, you need to leave. And I understand that they wanted to keep students out as much as possible. So in a week, I had to go back home. And home for me is Brazil. So it was a crazy week. I still, to this day, I don't know how I did it. I got all my things in boxes, and they were very nice to let me leave my boxes in the dorms because we all thought that we're gonna be back by May. I was sure I was gonna be back by May. I started running and getting all my dog's papers because of course I would never leave and left Pua behind. So, and I might do another video about how it is to travel with emotional support animals. Like, you have to have a lot of documents, and all the documents have very short valid dates, so they expired very fast. So I was just running and getting Pua's documentation ready to go. My dad called me one day, and like my flight was like on a Thursday, and on a Saturday my dad called me and said, don't freak out. But I talked to my friend, and he has a friend who works for the tourism in Brazil, and he knows a lot of contacts in fly agencies, and he was the one who let my father know because he knew I was trying to get back to Brazil. So he called me, so my dad called me, and he said, don't freak out, but all flights are gonna be suspended on Tuesday and Wednesday. Your flight is on Friday. You have to get back before that, so go change your flight. And I was like, what? It's Saturday. How am I gonna get a flight on Tuesday or Monday, or I don't know. It's like for international flights, you book in months in advance. You don't just change the flight like that. So it was a whole thing, but I got to change my flight to Tuesday, and I left the dorms with Pua and my bags, and I remember closing my room, looking at all my things piled up in boxes and thinking, don't worry, you'll be back by May. So I flew back to Brazil. It was the emptiest flight I've ever seen in my entire life. And when we landed, and I remember that so clearly, the pilot said on the interphone, please make sure that you don't forget your belongings inside the airplane because this aircraft is not going to be flying back to Brazil. I had landed on the last flight of that route, and there's a couple routes that go across America, across the United States, and then to Brazil. And on that route that I used to take, it was the last flight in months. So it was crazy. And then I get here and I'm thinking, it's okay, I'll be back by May. May comes and goes. The pandemic is still here. My internship in June, July is canceled. I get fired from my job in the other department that I was used to work at school. At this point, I'm still an RA. And then the weeks go by and it's time for us to get back for the new semester at CCA. So they call other RAs and they say, hi, you need to come back because school's about to start and you have to be here by this day. I am the only international, or I was the only international RA in the team. So I call them and I say, so I am in Brazil as you told us to go home. I went home and I am in Brazil. Borders are closed. How am I gonna get back? And they say, oh, that's too bad. But if you can't come back, you're not gonna be able to continue your work. And I couldn't go back. I was stuck in Brazil. So I lost my RA job. So by this point, I have no more jobs, no more place to live because I was living in the dorms as an RA. And the dollar price is just sky high, and we realized we're not gonna be able to pay for my college education anymore. It was a horrible feeling. I had a beautiful life, and now I didn't anymore. I had to drop out, and I had to find a way to finish my college studies here in Brazil. There isn't any illustration major or illustration college programs here. That's just not a thing. So what I did, and I need to say that I was very lucky to be able to do that because for a little while I thought that I was gonna have to start from scratch. I was missing 1 year in my last college before I had to drop out. It was just 1 year and I couldn't do it. So I was terrified of having to do another 3 or 4 to get my degree. And I was very lucky to be able to return to the college I was attending before moving to California. And they let me in on the same semester that I left. So it's like no time has passed. I was in the 5th semester and now I was in the 6th semester. It's an animation program and it's one, if not the best animation programs in Brazil. Even so, it's brand new. I was part of the very first class when I started attending it back in 2016. And all my colleagues and my friends from my class graduated a couple years ago, and now I was back with a brand new class of people and 3 semesters left to graduate. So I was very lucky to be able to just do another 3 semesters and get a degree in animation. I'm not gonna lie, it's not what I want to do. I desperately wanted to do illustration, but it's the best I could possibly get in my situation, and I'm very glad for it. So the camera stopped recording and I am absolutely sure the tripod moved. And I am sorry about that, but that happens, right? Yeah. I was back in Brazil. I did the last semester of 2020 in my old school here in Brazil. I was not working during that time, and eventually I did got an internship in a marketing company, which it was a very good experience for me to realize that I do not fit in that type of job. So after recovering from the big blow that was 2020 of getting my old life taken away from me and having to start from scratch here in Brazil, then I started my journey as a self-employed person, which is actually, it has been the dream for years, and it's just a dream that I'm very scared of. I am terrified of how much I want to be self-employed and how much I want this to work, because being a freelancer and a freelance illustrator, doing my books and selling my art on my own is very hard. People don't value art, unfortunately, and there is a lot of things that I did had in the States that I don't here, like access to materials in an affordable price, or a community that buys and sells art. But yeah, so in November I opened my store, which was a huge milestone, and it was really amazing. We sell notebooks and stickers, and it has been a crazy, fun, satisfying, and scary experience. But I've been doing that, and I also wrote a children's book during the time that I was in quarantine here at home, and I loved it, every single moment of it. And I have a plan to write 2 other books in 2021. Unfortunately, it was never published here in Brazil because we don't publish books anymore. But I do have the plan to try and get it published maybe in other countries, maybe in the US, in Canada, someplace in Europe, place where people publish books. But yeah, this is the life that I want to live, just doing my art. And I realized that even though I was living in the place where I felt myself and heard and valued, I don't have to be there to be a self-employed artist. Because of the internet, we can work anywhere. So here we are. I have 1 year left of college to finish. I'll finish with a degree in animation. And I am just really investing time, energy, and money on my self-employed artist journey. And I've been trying to do that for years, and it has never really worked. Probably because I didn't believe it could. And this time I am determined to make it work, so we'll see. I just wanted to make this video to update you guys on my situation and how am I moving forward, because last video I was an RA, a brand new RA, living in San Francisco in college, and now I am a self-employed artist living in Brazil in another college completely. So yeah, we needed an update video. But I also wanted to make this video to let you all know that starting from scratch, it can be great, it can be very painful, but it's doable. So there's just some things you can control, and if you can't control them, the best thing you can do is just try to take the best out of them. And it sucks and it's painful and so unfair, but it's also how life works.